in Laredo. They need your protection.
I saw Karate Kid once on TV. Should I take him out?
I say yes. Let's power up.
It's morphing time. You guys got really quiet.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the second day of ACC's Comic-Con. I know why you're here, so I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's go ahead and introduce our guests as if you didn't know who they are. First of all, starting off with Mr. David Fielding. You know him better as the voice of Zordon. The lovely and very talented Karen Ashley, but you know her better as the Yellow Ranger. And last but certainly not least, your Red Ranger, Austin St. John.
Oye, dígame qué pasó.
What time is it?
Morphing time!
That's got to be louder than that, Laredo. Come on.
That's what I'm talking about.
What time is it?
It's morphing time!
Yes.
Thank you so much for showing up here in Laredo, and I hope that you've been enjoying already the first day. We've been hearing a lot of great stuff. Obviously, a lot of people were expecting you guys and looking forward to you guys. What has been your reception here so far in Laredo?
Amazing. I'm partial because Texas and all Comic-Cons in Texas are amazing. But the lovely, yeah, right? You guys are awesome. Awesome. You know, the love we get here in Laredo is so sweet and so kind, and I'm so happy that it's probably one of my first cons, you know, down here. So it's nice to meet a lot of new faces and also some faces I've met before. You guys are traveling around to meet us, so thank you. Thank you for the love.
This is my first time down here, and it's been absolutely fantastic. I hope I get to come back and meet everybody again. I mean, everybody here has been just so wonderful, so thank you very much.
Enough said. I mean, that sums it up. You guys are awesome. And I love the GoPro on your head.
I like that.
We've been kind of working, basically getting bigger and bigger. We've had David already here. We've had Walter as well. And obviously having you guys is a big piece of the puzzle as well. How often do you guys get to see each other on a yearly basis? I mean, do you guys ever get together in one place, either for fun or for, you know, for a show? Is there anything like that?
I mean, I've only been back since April, May. So, like, May last year was my first appearance, probably 15 years. And I can tell you, since I've been back, my schedule's been insane. I know theirs has been too. So getting us all in the same place at the same time really depends on a convention big enough to get us all in one place at the same time. I'd love to see them. I see a lot. I've met a lot of the new guys, even though I haven't seen their episodes. And they've been amazing. You know, some of the newest guys, I can't remember his name, the little Green Ranger guy, that's horrible. No, not Azim. Azim is awesome. I met him too, but a few others that have really been cool. So, and I got back together with these guys. So, Hector was cool. He was, you know, front flips over, you know, dividers in the Comic-Con. So he was great to see. But these guys and others like him. So a little bit at a time.
Right.
Yeah, like you said, it's like a convention bringing us all together. We try to get together, but it's like literally I text people and go, hey, let's have breakfast, let's have lunch, and they're like, oh, I'm gone this weekend, you know, to Comic-Con. So it's very difficult. But when I get home, I'm actually having brunch with the girls, with Cameron Sutherland and Nakia Bree. So we make time for each other for sure.
It's really been sort of a Back to the Future thing for me because my first real big con was Power Morpher Con this past August, and that was the first time I'd seen Austin and David and Walter in the original cast for like 20 years, and met up with Barbara Goodson, who was Rita, and Karen Mahan. But so it's been really great to reconnect with these guys after 20 plus years.
Awesome. And that leads to my next question. You know, here we are 20 plus years already. and we're still talking about the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Maybe exactly. The fans. That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. It's probably as popular, or maybe even more popular. You've got, Power Ranger groups, showing up throughout the country. We've got actually Power Ranger conventions. We've got, newsletters. We've got clubs. Did you know when you made this show? Did you know when they called you up, Austin, Karen, and David? Hey, 20 years later, I'm still going to be talking about this. I've asked this question many times, but what goes through your mind when that happens, man?
Unbelievable. I went on, I finished my bachelor's degree, then I got another degree in emergency medicine. And I went off to the Middle East. 12 years in the Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia area working as a medic, another 4 years in the Middle East, attached to military operations as a DOD medic. And I thought the show was over for me. I wasn't on social media. I had no idea Comic-Cons even existed. And I was on the Iraqi-Kuwaiti border talking with Walter Jones, just kind of catching up like we do once a year or so. He's like, dude, you're not going to believe what I'm doing. You should come back to the convention circuit. And I was like, the what? What are you talking about? He's like, our fans, they've grown up. I was like, no, they haven't. Stop. What are you talking about? And next thing I know, he's telling me about all these stories that some of you guys have passed on to him about what's going on with some of the stories and where you were in your lives that I know that we've all heard. And it blew me away. And I thought, okay, well, let me get back to the States, heal up some injuries. Took about a month and a half off, and then I entered the Comic-Con circuit, and I was like, I'll do one show. Turned into like 20 plus shows, a global tour. And now I'm completely back into the movie business, compliments to you guys. So I'm loving meeting these guys and hearing their stories, and they never left the biz. These guys are still on top of it. I'm like, how do I do this again? Somebody help me out.
That's funny. No, I always say it's because of you guys. It's like the fans literally have kept Power Rangers like at an all-time high. It was funny because we started doing conventions. I would do 1 or 2 conventions a year, and it kind of went on for about 5-6 years. Then I did, a couple conventions, and we had like these enormous lines, and we were like, okay, what's going on? There's something in the water. And they were like, we were watching it today. And then the next person was like, we were watching it today. And we're like, where are you watching it? They were like, Netflix. And I think when it got re-released on Netflix, it was like a resurgence, because now all of you that love the show have kids, and your kids are sitting next to you on the couch, and you're watching the show together. So it's like our convention schedule tripled. But it's because of the fans. They are literally the most amazing, loyal, just amazing fans. I can't even think of what's better than amazing.
Since the beginning. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think the thematic qualities of the show really speaks to what got the fans all excited. The myth of the hero and the characters and all the messages that came through the show. And I think that really is what speaks to people, and that's what has kept it alive. But again, I didn't really know that much about like what Austin said. I just thought, well, people might know the character. I didn't realize how many people would know the character or how many people love the character. So it was crazy exciting to all of a sudden have all these people like want to see you again. So that's great.
Right. And just staying with you, we're going to go down the line here. Give us your first, I guess, when you got the job, what was your regular schedule? And I know that TV, I've heard over the years that TV can be very grueling. What was your typical day, with the show?
My situation was kind of different from these guys because when they were filming the pilot, the show hadn't been picked up by Fox yet. It was just a one-day shoot, non-union shoot. They shot me for 1 day, and that was it. And then they reused the footage for the character over and over. And then I would just go into the studio to do voices, and I did voices for the first 31 episodes. And then by that time, I was kind of disillusioned about living in LA, so I left.
Right.
And then Robert Manahan took over for the voice at that point. But yeah, my schedule is completely different from what theirs was. But it was still amazing to be a part of like a superhero show, which was spoke to my geek nerd nature, and it was just really a lot of fun to do it.
Yeah. What was it?
What was your typical day in the show, getting ready for the show,
Oh.
you know, and obviously now it's going to be very different. The
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
The grueling pace now. How did it start? How was your day? You know, give us a little bit of a...
Honestly, the girls, we got on set, we were there usually by 5 a.m. and it was dark outside, and we would typically work, you know, 12, 15-hour days, and we'd leave and it would be dark outside, and it was just non-stop work. I mean, Power Rangers, it's funny because usually a TV show shoots like 1 episode per week, but Power Rangers, we were on every single day. So when we came on, it was like these guys had just left the show, and they were like, we need to get as many episodes with you guys in it. So we're gonna adopt a 6-day week work week. So mind you, it was like we got the part, we auditioned, 4 days later, we're on set, 4 days later, we're in LA auditioning for the producers. By that afternoon, we had the part, and that Monday, we were on set. And that went on for probably close to 2 years, and it was like, we shot 20 episodes in about 2 months, and then we went and shot the movie, and then during the movie, we're shooting episodes in Australia. On any day off we had off from the movie, we were shooting Power Rangers, the TV show, and it was just not, and then when you were done shooting, you'd have to go and do voiceover and ADR, because most of the stuff you shot outside, you know, it just didn't work. So it was just, like I always say, Power Rangers was the good, the bad, and the ugly, because you were crying, you were tired, you were missing your family, you were everything, but it was like so amazing, the fan response, and it was the #1 show in the world, so you put in the work.
Austin, what was your typical day?
Well, I was there from day one. So day one, we didn't know what we were auditioning for. We had no idea where it was going to go. The show was called Phantoms, not Power Rangers. My character's name was Victor, not Jason. And so I auditioned for this thing. I wasn't an actor. I was a 17-year-old boy. And of course, at 17, I was like, I'm a man. But now I look back and I was like, I was a 17-year-old boy. And I auditioned, audition after audition, thousands of people came out of the woodwork for this. We finally get on set, and it was for a pilot. So there wasn't a serious shoot schedule yet. And there's nothing like putting the pressure on a 17-year-old leader of the free world and saying, if this is really good, along with the other new cast members, AJ and the very first Yellow Ranger, her name was Audrey, and the rest of the cast, and saying, you know, if this is really good, you guys have a TV series. So we all felt the pressure. And we were filming in bowling alleys, and I want to say it was, I don't even remember where it was. But, so immense pressure, and that wasn't too bad. I was like, this isn't too bad. We're shooting, we're doing our thing, no problem. And then it got picked up. And from that point on, for the first year, I think, we finally got a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks off for Christmas. But we shot 6 days a week. I was on set 4, 5, 6 a.m. depending. And we would leave sometimes 9, 10, 11 at night. So stunts all day, you know. I remember Carlos, he was the first gay guy I ever met, and he was amazingly friendly, but he would sit there and he would oogle over my eyelashes, and then I had somebody doing wardrobe, and I grew up the son of a Marine brat, you know, and so I was exposed to all these things, and it was high pressure and great times, and then the producer comes down one day and says, I want you to know that, by the way, your show has become #1 in the world. And I'm sitting there with Walter Jones, you know, and our suits down around our waist, and it's like 9 o'clock at night, and we just kind of looked at him and thought, did that just happen? What is he talking about? We were so tired, we couldn't even comprehend what he said. So that was how intense the shoot schedule was.
The Beatles were quoted as one time saying that they knew that they had hit it big when they went to a concert and everybody was just screaming. They couldn't even sing in the concert or whatever. This is the Beatles, of course. At what point did you guys realize, yeah, this is bigger than me. This is just out?
For me, it was Universal Studios. We were supposed to do one show with 1,000 people, and it turned into 5 shows. They moved us to their biggest theater. the local highway was backed up for 8 miles. I mean, this is the 101 freeway in LA, backed up for 8 miles. Yeah, we broke Universal attendance records. Toy shops at Universal were like run over. I mean, riots started. They had to call in the police to get new toys because they sold out of the toys and you guys were going ballistic. And you know, where are my toys? You know, and your parents were going even more ballistic. I came all this way with little Johnny. And so, you know, crazy things were happening, and there's a toy right there. Yeah, you're like, yeah, I clubbed 3 people over the head for that toy. So yeah, there you go. My mom killed somebody for that one, you know. And so Universal Studios was tens of thousands of people that were standing in line at like 4 a.m. days before it happened. So that was for me.
Karen, what about you?
For me, like I said, I came on the show and it was like they swooped us into the studio and we shot, and the next thing I know, we're flying on a plane to Australia, and we literally were working nonstop. I mean, we might have one day off. I think, like you said, we missed Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, Valentine's Day, Halloween, like it was like every holiday. I missed my sister's wedding, we missed everything.
Right.
And then one day they're like, oh, we're gonna go on a promotional tour and you're gonna promote the movie. The movie's coming out. And by this time the TV show had come out.
Right. And
I just remember going to Mann's Chinese Theater and we were going to the premiere of the movie, stepping out of the limousine and like turning around in my Power Ranger suit. And like, they would have made us wear that too. In the Power Ranger suit and like a sea of paparazzi, and it was like, I mean, and I was just like, and my whole family was standing on the side, and I looked at them, and I was like about to cry, and they were like, Karen, and I was like, how did they know my name? And at that moment, I realized, yeah, and then you look up, and there's bleachers of people on Hollywood Boulevard just screaming for the Power Rangers. So at that moment, I was like, oh my God, this is the #1 show in America. Like, wow. So that was the moment I think it sunk in for me. We're like doing the hand and footprint, and I'm like remembering every celebrity I'd ever seen in my lifetime putting their hand in the cement, and I'm doing it, and I'm looking at everybody, and we're just crying and like happy.
David, what about you? What did you know?
This was Christmas 1993. The show had just aired like the 1st of September that year. And I was back living in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and had gone into a KB Toys and saw the power center that they had,
Right.
Which was the...
I wish you bought that. Like
and there was my face on the toy, and I was like, wow, this is huge. And then after that, you know, all the Halloween costumes and everything like that, I'm like, this is big.
Right. Cameron, you mentioned Netflix. Obviously, you know, a couple of other places that kids have grown to is, of course, ABC Family. ABC Family has been, you know, showing the repeats, of course, to Disney, you know, all these channels. And David, you kind of touched on it, how, you know, a lot of times these characters that last for so long, it's because they have something intrinsically good about them. It's about something almost mythological in some sense. And when you think about it, I mean, that's basically what, as we're growing up, for those of us that grew up with the Rangers, you know, that was kind of our lessons. Those were our lessons. And how, and tell us a story about anything that maybe might have touched you, that you might have heard over the years.
One story?
Oh, well, no, I know it's hard. I know it's hard, but something that you guys heard that was like, wow, you know what, I touched a child. In other words, I made a difference in somebody's life like that. Whoever wants to start.
Man, it's hard to pick one story. It's one of those things. I think Power Rangers spoke to people on so many different levels, and like you said, it was life lessons. Like, it was a really pure, good show. Like, you know, it was like, I tell people all the time, one of the things that I think about that it did, and it was never talked about, was that there were 5, you know, and sometimes 6 individuals, and we were all of different ethnicities. We were all of, you know, different backgrounds. Like, there was the boy next door, the girl next door, the, you know, nerd, you know, but all these people were friends, and at any given episode, one of us and all of us would come together and save the day.
Yeah.
But like, one person would shine in that moment and rise to the occasion, and I think it really gave kids hope. So we get, we come to conventions now, and people come to the table and their eyes